Before the end of 2021, another surprising release by WWE. Recently featured on WWE Smackdown, the most watched wrestling show in all of wrestling, Toni Storm is reportedly no longer with WWE. What's going on, everybody? Here's a breaking story.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
How's everyone doing? It is Kev Callum here for Sportskeeda Wrestling. Thank you for joining me. This breaking news story coming to you in the middle of the day. Toni Storm, former NXT UK Women's Champion, recently featured on Smackdown, chasing the Smackdown Women's Championship with Charlotte Flair. She is reportedly no longer with the company, though this has not been confirmed by her or WWE. This is being reported by Fightful Selects Sean Ross Sapp. Kudos to him. Sean has been breaking big stories like this all the time. This one coming in the last hour. Very surprising release here. We don't know if this is a sign of any more releases here today, but a surprising one considering she was so prominently featured recently on television with Charlotte Flair, one of the top, female stars in the company at the moment. A very, very surprising move here. Let us know what you guys think here. She had quite the tenure in WWE. She was featured in 2 Mae Young Classics. Was one of the figureheads of the NXT UK brand, which is still something WWE is developing long-term, and was featured on NXT. And a lot of people had a lot of big expectations for her when she was drafted to SmackDown earlier this year. Then kind of was there. They weren't doing a whole lot with her. Gets put in this angle here with Charlotte Flair, one of the top stars in the company. They throw pies at each other. She gets a competitive match with Charlotte. Comes up short. A lot of people thought that maybe that ending was kind of like a write-off for her. I don't know. Other people were debating it. What do you think here? Sound off. Get in the comments and let us know what you guys think here. A lot of people surprised by this here. Kamar saying, I am shocked about this Toni Storm release. Today, damn. Other people just yelling, what the fuck? just saying that. A lot of people losing their minds here. And a lot of people saying, well, who knows? It's happened before. They got plenty of talent now. Yeah, true. But I mean, WWE made a lot of cuts this year. We don't know why this is happening. I don't know if this is an individual case. We saw Jeff Hardy released a few weeks ago, and that one's a little bit more on the surface with Jeff. A lot of those stories you can see at sportskeeda.com and find out more about it. There's some debate about that here. Jose G going to join me here in a minute as well. Jose joining me here from Florida. This one's surprising, Jose. Toni Storm recently featured prominently on SmackDown. This isn't like somebody who was like near the bottom of the card and creative's got nothing for you. That story we've heard before.
Yeah, man, this call, I think this caught me by surprise. I mean, she just had an interview with Ryan Satin on the Out of Character podcast, which is done by Fox online, and she had a very long interview, went in depth into a lot of stuff, and this is just very surprising. They're really not playing around right now in WWE, dude, when it comes to if you're not performing, if you're not getting over as quick as you can, you're out of here. They're not joking around with it.
I think there's got to be more to this story than we know, right?
There has to be, man. Like, why? What if you're pushing her? Why all of a sudden she's being taken out and she's out of the company? Like, she had a nice program going with Charlotte, so I don't understand where this is all coming from. Like,
and she was getting some fair reactions. I'm not saying she was turning the world over or anything like that. I don't think she had as much fan momentum as like a Liv Morgan has right now on Monday Night Raw in terms of like the female programs for WWE. And some people were down on what they were doing with her and Charlotte Flair, like throwing pies at each other and doing silly stuff like that. But she hit the mark with those segments. Go out and do what we want you to do, even if it's not like what, fans are in love with, but they weren't quiet, Crowds weren't sitting on their hands when Toni Storm came out. So I got to think there's more to this story.
There has to be. There has to be something else going on here, man. Because
and every time this happens with releases, people just go off in the company here. Kevin texting in here, not me, says, no, blame Nick Khan, Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard. Did y'all learn this? I know these names from reading dirt sheets. We don't know, man. There's so much more to this. There's so much more to this.
This doesn't seem like it's a budget cut related release. This has to be something else, dude. Like, I don't know. I mean, I have not heard any backstage ruffles with Toni Storm. On the contrary, people love Toni Storm. She gets along with everyone backstage. At one point, the officials were really high with her. She was NXT UK champion, the Mae Young Classic champion in that first tournament. Toni Storm had a really good history and a really good career in WWE. man, what a shame. It is just a big, big shame.
Well, I mean, we expect this too. When anyone gets released, it's pile on WWE and let's hate on them. WWE sucks. They're done. They're this. Guys, they have an arena sold out on Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia. So they're gonna run WrestleMania. It's gonna be in football stadiums. It's still WWE. So here, and that is void. I want to know what happened here. I want to know what the decision making is here. And sometimes we really don't know that for years. Like some of these things you don't know for a long, long time because this literally just happened less than an hour ago.
Yeah, we at 3:34. That's when Sean Rossat put that tweet up, and I think he said it during the stream as well, right? You were watching the stream.
I caught a bit of it, and someone told me about it, and then I kind of caught the end of it. And tip of the cap to Sean. He's breaking so many big stories. I know we're in the aggregation world. We're not breaking stuff. We're making stuff. But Sean is doing a great job and has great context. He's very reliable. This isn't something he would put out if it wasn't reliable, to say the least.
I agree. I completely agree. I got to meet him in person. Seems like a straight up stand up guy. And every time, he puts out these big stories, I mean, you got to tip the cap to him, man. He's been really just stirring the pot and making news all over.
Matt J. Hendricks saying, I know she asked for release, but how the F do you waste? I don't know if she asked for release. I don't know where you're getting that information. So this is another thing that happens when these releases happen. There's a bunch of people that turn speculation into fact. We don't know if she asked for release. I don't know where you would get that information.
I have not heard any of that. That is not confirmed or reported that she asked for a release. So yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, and
what's your take on this, Kevin? Like, I mean, because
I'm just surprised. I mean, you've already lost a lot of people this year. Like, I mean, you've already lost a lot of people. I don't know why you need to cut more. I don't get it. Some of it's a head scratcher, and also this isn't somebody where it's all those other reported boxes that they want checked. You have somebody who's youthful, has youth on their side, has international experience. This isn't just another college athlete, independent wrestler from, the East Coast or the West Coast in the United States. This is somebody who's Australian, who's different, has an international feel to her. At the same time, has an appeal, I think, to younger women. I think there was an upside to her. Maybe it was sort of a sink or swim thing, where they're like, hey, you're good, but we needed you to be top level, go in there and be in there with Charlotte right away. Charlotte is their female Randy Orton. As far as W is concerned, Charlotte will stay with WWE. We don't know what her contract status is, but she's one of those people I don't think I'll be very, very surprised if she wrestled anywhere else besides WWE. Maybe she'll go to All Elite. Who knows, right? Her fiance.
I mean, that's still always the presumption, right? But
sure.
Impact Wrestling is a good option for her too. They got a really good women's division. She can even go back to Japan. She did amazing in Japan. So. The doors are open for Toni Storm anywhere else, I think.
It's just very, very surprising that WWE would release a talent that they just featured on television. This isn't the first time they've done that this year. They did this with Malachi Black. Aleister Black had vignettes, animated, produced over months.
They spent a lot of money on those.
And like you had a cartoon made for a guy basically, and then you let him go. And then that happens. And then at the same time, the reversal of this is the people that stay with the company. Kevin Owens stayed. Selena Vega had that big issue with the company where they released her.
And then she returned. Yeah.
And then she returned. So it's kind of crazy over here, man. Other people saying Toni Storm was just in a championship match. If you're just joining us, yes, she was just featured in a championship match on television, like a week ago? This past Friday?
Yeah, past Friday, the Christmas episode, yeah. So, I mean, it's just surprising. It is. There's got to be more to this. It isn't just a budget thing at this point. We're going to hear budget cut or something like that, right? We don't know that. I mean, if we haven't heard budget cuts yet, I don't think it's budget cuts, man. If not, they would have said
there's something more.
Said it already.
There's something more here. There's something more. There's something more for sure. Other people just saying this is insane. So this is pretty crazy here.
Guys, and if you're just joining us right now, I mean, if you're just tuning in, you don't know what's going on. Toni Storm has been released from the WWE. She has been heavily featured in the main card with Charlotte Flair recently. She was recently in a championship match. There is no reasoning. We have no explanation why she was released. You can only make assumptions or speculations at this moment. But, dude, this just caught me off guard. I just like you did, and just like every single one of you that are watching right now, Sound off in the comments and let us know what's your take. Toni Storm released from WWE. Crazy. We're living it, and it's the final week of the year, dude. Like, wow. At least it wasn't before Christmas.
Yeah. I don't know how this makes it any better.
But still, I just hate anybody losing their job.
Mm-hmm. And the people said they should have kept her on NXT UK. She had a great run in NXT.
She
UK.
had a fantastic run in NXT UK. Absolutely.
And
She should have stayed in NXT.
Who knows? But then if you want to make the real money in this business, you got to be on Raw or SmackDown. You want to make that top level money. You want to move that merch. You're going to be in front of casual fans. That's what you do here. So a lot of different people.
I mean, there's just so many other things you could have done with Toni Storm. You could have paired him. You could have separated Rick Boogs from Nakamura and have Rick Boogs with Toni Storm. They're both like 80s Rockchilds.
Yeah, that
would have been a great gimmick, right? You could have put her in a tag team. I know the SmackDown women's roster is not as deep as Raw's, but nonetheless, you could have done something else than just releasing her. I just feel like it's very short-sighted from WWE, and this is just my opinion. I have no evidence or no confirmation that WWE got rid of her for any reason, or its budget cuts. But I just feel, man, like you could have done so much with her. This was just jumping the gun way too quick. I don't know what happened. I really don't know.
Glenn saying, could there have been a problem with her visor? I think you mean visa. So she is an international talent. I don't know her American citizenship status. She's been in the States for a couple of years. But people that do work for WWE usually get their work visas set up. I know that was an issue with the Iconics after they were released as to what their work visa status would be and how to retain that so you can stay in the United States. This isn't unrelated, but this is more just a life experience thing. Me working in broadcasting and comedy, there's people I know that were comedians who, for whatever reason, couldn't get their visa renewed for whatever class their work visa was. So they had to go back to Europe. And this is pre-pandemic. And now they were like, oh, I almost feel good about it because my visa status would have elapsed. And then I would have had to figure out travel and the pandemic and all these different things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting what that's going to be and where this can go and what availabilities are there. And obviously right on the surface, everyone immediately jumps to, she's going to Impact, she's going to AEW. We gotta see what happens here, man. We gotta see what happens here for sure.
Sit tight. I'm sure there's going to be more developments as the day goes on and the days go by heading into the new year, man. But man, so unfortunate, man. Ahead of the big pay-per-view starting the new year, man, this is just so unfortunate, man. This has really bummed my afternoon out.
Yeah, it is certainly a bummer for sure. We will have more on this story later this afternoon when we do our scheduled show, Top Story, which will air at about 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. We'll have more on this release and the latest on WWE's growing problem here with COVID-19 and putting people into safety protocols prior to day one, which seems to be a day-by-day story.
Does seem like we will have some today.
We do think we will have some news about that later this afternoon. We're kind of waiting for some other things to be confirmed here. Please continue to comment and let us know what you guys think of this story. Also, not to just let it be negative. I challenge you watching this long into the video. What's your favorite Toni Storm match? Don't just tell me things, oh, this sucks. Tell me what you like about this performer. Tell me what you enjoyed about them. Tell me what you want to see more of. What more matches do you want to see? What exciting moments do you have with Toni Storm? Tell me what you thought of the Lightning Down Under in WWE. And tell me what's the next thing you want to see. Let me know here. Sound off in the comments below. I'll be jumping into those comments as well. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube. Now over 24,000 subscribers. We also have a side channel called Wrestle Binge, Sportskeeda Wrestling Wrestle Binge, which is just our top 5 videos here. So you guys can check that out as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back later today with Top Story. So much more content on the channel, unscripted. New interview up with Alberto Del Rio. And we also have a fresh interview.
You got to say it right. You got to say it right, Kevin.
Alberto Del Rio. He had a lot to say with us. Drew McIntyre tells us why there's some heels that are actually good heels and why some heels in the wrestling business are bad. That fresh interview is up now. All of those on our channel. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later today.